George Russell was an American jazz pianist, composer, bandleader, and musical theorist. He's probably best known for his 1953 book, Lydian Chromatic Concept for Tonal Organization, which sounds like a real page-turner. Basically, he discovered F-sharp, or at least discovered putting F-sharp into the key of C instead of F. He was instrumental, apparently, no pun intended, in the development of modal jazz. So in his early life, he sang in church choirs and listened to riverboat music. He sang Moon Over Miami with Fats Waller at the age of 7. He then started his musical career as a drummer. He was called up for the draft for World War II, but was hospitalized with tuberculosis. And during his hospitalization, he learnt music theory. In the early 40s, he moved to New York and got in with a crowd of people, which included Miles Davis and Charlie Parker and others. In 1945, he was back in hospital for 16 months with his tuberculosis again. He worked out the basis for his famous book. He started playing the piano and working as a band leader in 1964, so this is nearly 20 years later. He moved to Scandinavia because of his disgust with race relationships in America. He released lots of albums in the 80s and slowed down in the 90s, and he died in 2009. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is an album of instrumental jazz made by a small band, in fact a sextet. So George is on piano. The only other name I recognise in this sextet is Eric Dolphy, who's on alto sax and bass clarinet. And it's, I'm not really sure how to describe it other than jazz. I've seen it described as avant-garde jazz or modal jazz, and I believe the modal thing. Avant-garde, not sure. It's certainly experimental in some ways. It's on my first listen, I thought, yeah, it's okay, but it's a bit random, and it's triggered thoughts that I've generally had these thoughts at other times, which is that everybody knows that in order to play music, you need to learn how to play music. But one thing that doesn't seem to be as widely recognized is that people learn how to listen to music, and the kind of general acceptance of music theory that is predominant in the West, but particularly European classical music, and going through from that is based on a set of concepts and rules that have been developed over many years. But as we listen to music that uses those rules, we get used to that and think that that's what's normal. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this isn't normal in that sense. But I know that people can learn to appreciate jazz more by listening to it more and learning to listen to it. I wouldn't say I was an expert in jazz, but I wouldn't say I was a novice.